What's going on, everybody? Welcome into Blazers Uprise Live here on a Thursday night. Today, we got some stuff to talk about. We got the NBA Finals for this year. It's set between the Mavericks and the Celtics as the Mavericks destroyed the Timberwolves today. We're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to talk about how the NBA draft got worse. Me and Eric have been on the record saying the second round is a pretty normal second round, but that might not be the case anymore because the withdrawal deadline was yesterday, and there were some surprising names that went back to college, and we're going to touch upon those. I'm disappointed in a couple. And we're going to talk about the Blazers workouts. They've had a couple workouts since we streamed last. We're going to talk about who they worked out, our thoughts on those players, and we also got 3 trade ideas for you guys that we're going to discuss. Eric, how's it going?
Oh, it's going all right. But the main story of today, I know you don't want to bring this up yourself, so I'll bring it up. Happy birthday to Tori and Shaden Sharp. As I saw someone say in chat earlier, that's how I remembered it. Was Shaden Sharp's birthday was thanks to Tori.
That's funny.
But yeah, happy birthday, Tori. Hope you're having a good day.
Hey, man, if people are remembering Shaden Sharp's birthday because of me, then I'll take that for sure. But, no, yeah, good day. Played some basketball. Got some stuff planned over the next few days. So going to enjoy my weekend coming up. But, man, I'm just excited to sit down and talk about stuff. You know, how else would I rather spend my birthday than here with you, chat? And, you know, playing some basketball and grinding some things, working on some stuff. So excited for that. And, man, it's going to be a little bit of a shorter stream today. I know every time I say that, it always ends up being a little bit long, but we're going to try and rifle through some stuff, and then if we have time at the end, take your guys' questions. But appreciate all of you that wished me a happy birthday. It means a lot, and thank you guys. You guys are awesome. Eric, let's just jump right into things here. NBA Finals are set, and you know, a couple of us predicted it right, so I'm going to give myself a pat on the back just for that one. Dallas and Boston. I think I had Boston winning the series. It's been so long since we've actually predicted the NBA playoffs. But you got the Mavs, you got the Celtics. This is going to be a fun final series. Hopefully it goes longer than these conference final series. What are your thoughts on this matchup? You got Luka versus Tatum. You got Kyrie versus old team. You got Jaylen Brown coming off his Eastern Finals MVP. The Celtics are either going to finally win one with this iteration of their roster, or the Mavericks come out of nowhere to win another championship, kind of like they did back in 2011 when they were a 3 seed and beat the Heat. This year they're a 5 seed, and it would be Luka following in Dirk's footsteps and winning himself a ring, Kyrie getting his redemption after, you know, all the drama that happened in Boston and Brooklyn. But now he's been a great teammate so far this year. Didn't see that coming. So, a ton of storylines. What are you looking forward to most in the series?
Well, first of all, Sude donated $20. Says happy birthday, my guy.
Thank you,
and
Sude.
then he also gifted 5 memberships.
Who'd they go to?
I went to Elizabeth Allen, Himothy, Colonel Pancakes, Harm Jr., and Ben Watkins.
Shout out to you guys.
Thank you so much today.
Shout out to you guys. Thank you, Sude. Appreciate you. I know Sude's dealing with some stuff on his end, so hopefully, you know, that gets cleared up, Sude. Always good to see you in chat, and thank you for the donation. Thank you for the gifted memberships. Greatly appreciate it. Yeah,
but
what are you looking forward to? Yeah.
I'm actually excited about this matchup. Gonna see if Boston has anything for Luka. They can contain him. But Boston, I don't know. They've been the best team all season. The Pacers series didn't go great for them, but they ended up, taking care of business. But, that a lot of those games could have gone either way. Just like until tonight, a lot of games in this Mavs Timberwolves series could have gone either way, and we might be talking about completely different storylines right now had any of those games gone differently. But I think this is a really good matchup. A lot of star power, a lot of fun storylines, and when we talk about the draft, this is always something that you follow after you fall in love and get draft crushes. I know for me personally, this was one of my guys, and I'm like 100% sure it was one of your guys as well, Tori, and that's Derek Lively. Just watching him play the way we thought he was a perfect fit for this Mavericks team. And he is so good, and it's going to be a problem that they got him for years. And it's just kind of sad. So the tanking last year by the Mavericks the last couple games to miss out on the play-in, it worked out for them big time. And shout out to their organization for making moves. And then Boston as well. I mean, they did it mostly in the off season, but they go out, add Porzingis and Drew Holiday to an already pretty good roster, and give up mostly injured players other than Marcus Smart, and it's paid off for them as well. So very interesting series, and I wouldn't really be shocked if either of these teams come out as NBA champions.
Yeah, I think it'll be competitive. Lively's the perfect center to have if you don't have an all-star center, in my opinion. Like, if you don't have a guy like Embiid or a Nikola Jokic, I personally, if I'm building a team, I want a guy at the center spot that plays his ass off, that is a really good lob target for my guards, and will rebound and will defend and can switch, and is just somebody that's not going to make too many mistakes, and just that perfect role-playing center that helps you out on both sides of the floor. Because Lively's not a skill player offensively, but when you got skill players like Luka, when you got a guy like Kyrie, and those guys can drive the lane at will, and guys shading over, rim protectors have to second guess, because the second they lean forward, it's just a lob going up to Lively. He's throwing it home. Same thing with Gafford. The vertical spacing with their center duo is phenomenal. And they got those guys in the past year, and one's a rookie, and one was kind of a cast-off that you asked for years. And it's just funny how a team can look totally different with just the right role players. And part of it was Kyrie had to buy in, and Kyrie had to become a little bit of a leader, and I'm surprised as to how well he's fit as a second option on the court, but then also no drama with him this year, man. No drama. And there was drama surrounding him for years, and he took this chance, and this might have been the best chance for him to have a redemption tour in a way. If he went to the Los Angeles Lakers or another organization, if he was playing next to LeBron with all that noise in LA, would things have gone the same with Kyrie? I'm not sure. But this is the perfect situation. He likes playing next to Luka, and it's just redemption for him. It's a legacy building series for Luka. Tatum has to get over the hump and win one. If they don't win one this year, it's kind of like they're our Niners, Eric. They become our San Francisco 49ers, where they're always there, made multiple NBA finals with this iteration of their roster, but can't get over the hump. So this is the year for the Celtics to get it done, but they've had a very easy road, and I'm not so sure they're ready to play Dallas, because I just don't think they've gotten tested too much in some of these prior series. They were in close games against Indiana without Tyrese Halliburton. right? So what's going to happen when they go up against Dallas with Luka, with Kyrie, and they go up against a healthy, formidable team? Because every team they've played in this year's postseason has been injured, has had Donovan Mitchell miss games, Jimmy Butler missed games, Tyrese Halliburton missed games. You're talking about the 3 best players on the 3 teams that they've faced. So it's going to be really interesting to see how they play, because I think they're going to have to ratchet it up another notch than they were playing at in that Indiana series. I think if they play the way they did in that Indiana series, I think Dallas actually runs away with this thing. But the front court battle is going to be interesting with PJ Washington, another good role player that they acquired, going up against Porzingis, going up against Al Horford. I'm looking forward to these big men going at it, because everybody's going to focus on Jaylen Brown, Drew Holiday, Jason Tatum, Kyrie, Luka. But at the end of the day, I think this front court might determine the series, because those guys are all very talented. In a way, those guys might cancel out. Of course, if Tatum struggles and Luka's on fire, then yeah, that's going to win Dallas the series. But the battle between these bigs is going to be fun to watch, and the bigs are a reason why Dallas is in this position in the first place.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think it's still... I mean, I don't think it's a failure at this point for Boston, but man, I can't imagine them just running it back next year if they can't get it done this year. Like I said earlier, they were the best team all season in terms of all the metrics that are indicators of a championship level team. Some of those metrics show that, like in their case, when they have that big of like net differentials and offensive and defensive rating and all that kind of stuff, like almost every team with those numbers wins the championship. So if they don't get this done, it's going to be a little disheartening for them. But I think the biggest factor for me right now is the week off between now and the final starting. It doesn't start till next Thursday. I hate how it's set, but that greatly favors the Mavericks, in my opinion, because they've had to battle through these tough series against OKC. I know this series only goes 5 games, and I'm sure they're happy they won tonight to make sure it didn't go longer. Mm-hmm. But they've been in some battles, and like you mentioned, the Celtics have been, I mean, I know the Pacers should have won many of those games, but I mean, did we any of us think that the Pacers actually were going to win that series at any point? I don't think many of us thought that. So they've had somewhat, I'm not trying to like say it's not legit or anything, because I hate that stuff where it's like, oh, it was a Mickey Mouse run to the finals or whatever. Like, you can only play the teams in front of you, and it's a long season, and they deserve it for being the 1 seed, and that's what happens sometimes when you're good. You're better than everyone else, so you should have an easier path. But I think the Mavs just, they're playoff tested now. Luka's been to conference finals and now made some finals. Boston is well tested as well, but I mean, this is a team that lost to the Miami Heat, the 8 seed or whatever in the playoffs last year. So yeah, it's like, I don't know. There's, to me, something about Boston. They seem to not step up in these moments, and that's going to come back to bite them ultimately in the series, in my opinion.
Yeah. Man, I'm looking forward to it. It sucks. I hate the layoff, but Thursday is going to be fun, man. I'm going to have to figure out something else to put down here on this bottom ticker for a week for the deck. Or I guess it's only one stream. I guess it's just Monday's stream. But yeah, it's going to be a fun battle. I just hope the series goes long. I would hate for it to be a sweep. I would love some dramatic moments on that final stage. Shout out to Braden Tennis. $5 donation says, happy birthday, my dog Tori. Appreciate y'all's dedication to the channel all year. Makes the offseason more enjoyable. I love to hear that, man, because that's my goal, is to make the offseason enjoyable for you guys. I enjoyed the offseason more than the regular season in the past couple of years.
Lately. Yeah.
So this is the time of year I enjoy. The streams are laid back, and we get to talk about this upcoming offseason. gets a little, boring during August, I guess. Well, not last year because we had Dame Saga to talk about for 2 months that took us through the entire offseason. So we're going to have our first period of downtime where we don't have much to talk about during July and August. But I enjoy those streams too just because I get to hang out with you guys and get to know some of you. So appreciate you guys hanging out in chat. Thank you for the donation, Braden. And then shout out to Colonel Pancakes, $5 donation says, Mavs in 6. Happy birthday. Thank you, Pancakes. I'm going to do a chat poll. I'm curious. Who wins this series? Celtics or Mavericks? And I'm curious to see what you guys think. I'm expecting Celtics like 60% of the vote. But vote in that chat poll. Let me know what you think. And while that's going, I'll talk about the results here in a few minutes. While that's going, Eric, anything else on the finals?
Well, with the Braden Tennis donation,
yeah,
and you're talking about the offseason, does it feel like the Blazers are like awfully quiet this offseason so far?
Yeah, like, I mean, we got the third pick, and it was just like Dame or Scoot, or Dame and Scoot, or Dame and Brandon Miller, or what will the Hornets do? Then what do the Blazers do? Are the Blazers going to trade 3? Are they going to trade it for McHale? What about, Jaylen Brown? All these names, right? And that was like the first offseason there was that much noise. Like the Blazers were the most talked about team from lottery until the start of free agency, I felt like, with the whole Dame saga, right? Of course, you had the Lakers and all these other big market teams, but it was like we were in the spotlight. And this offseason is the polar opposite. Like, I almost got used to being in the spotlight because then we're in the spotlight from July to September too with the whole Dame thing. So it's weird. It's the first time we've been this quiet in a while. And I don't know how much of that is just because of what happened last year, and maybe we're more quiet than in previous off seasons. But
yeah,
it's
like we got the limelight last summer, and now we're just gonna be low key.
The anticipation is starting to kill me a little bit, but it's fun. It's fun because I don't know what to expect, and we're gonna talk about potential trades later because we haven't really talked about trades a whole lot this offseason yet. I need to do a video just like talking about multiple trade ideas. It's just I don't know what to expect from the team, so I don't even know what to talk about.
The draft is in 27 days.
It's wild. It's going to be here before you guys know it. So I'm looking forward to it. But speaking of the draft, Eric, unfortunately, this year's draft got worse in a way that I didn't expect. You always expect guys to withdraw from the draft, but there has never been a year where there were so many guys that surprised me with their withdrawals. And I guess the good thing is it should make for a fantastic college basketball season next year. And we should be
one
taking
guy you're happy about.
Dude, college basketball, okay, if you guys have never gotten into college basketball before March Madness as Blazer fans, next year is the year because you're talking about a loaded draft. UConn's not going to be as dominant, in my opinion. They're still ranked like top 3 going into the season, but
oh no, Alex Caravan said he's running it back.
Well, that's one of the names that withdrew that surprised me a little bit. I'm going to run through all the notable names. But if you've never been into college basketball, next year is the year. You got Ace Bailey and Dylan Harper, 2 projected top 5 picks at Rutgers. You got Cooper Flagg at Duke. You don't have these top prospects going to the G League Ignite anymore because the G League Ignite is done. But not only that, guys that we've been talking about for months are going back to school, some of which were surprising names. So some of them you might already know for the first time ever going into next season if you've never paid attention to college basketball, but paid attention to our scouting conversations the past few months. So I'm really looking forward to the next year's college basketball season. And part of the reason for that, Eric, as I get into notable names, and these are alphabetically sorted in terms of last name.
25-year-olds.
Well, yeah, we'll get to that. The first notable name that withdrew, my guy, Michael Ajayi, who played at Pepperdine, was first-team All-WCC, and transferred to Gonzaga, but then entered his name into the draft and looked good in the combine. And honestly, given the guys that withdrew, I think he would have gotten drafted this year. But he's going to start for Gonzaga, who this might be our year, Eric. This might be our year. Our team is so deep. I'm super excited. So he went back. That was the one guy that I was excited withdrew.
Yeah.
So he was a NWAC guy, which is the same college league that I played in had only one offer coming out of high school. He grew up in Kent, Washington. Only one offer coming out of high school, and that was for a community college, NWAC. And then his second year there averaged 22 points per game. Man, he's really like me. He just removed the decimal from his scoring average, right? And then is going to play NBA games in the future because he's going to be fantastic for Gonzaga. Transferred to Pepperdine, came out of nowhere. Really fun story, really great guy. So that's one of I just wanted to root for him in a Gonzaga uniform, so I'm super excited for that. Adama Ball was an early withdrawal. He wasn't a last-minute withdrawal, but he was one of the second-round sleepers that I kind of liked. So, boom. 1 second-round sleeper gone for me, Eric. Somebody in chat keep count because it's a lot more than one of my second-round sleepers.
Do we know...
Go ahead.
Do we know where did he go back to Santa Clara? Did he transfer
I'm not
something?
sure. I'm not sure. If you can like look up some of these notable names and see like where they transferred, because I know some of them, but some of them I don't know off the top of my head. And feel free to talk about any of these prospects. One of chat's favorite second round sleepers, or some people in chat, Trevin Brazil from Arkansas withdrew. A little surprised. Is he even going back to Arkansas, though? Because Calipari has hit the transfer portal hard and brought over some of his recruits that were going to Kentucky, Boogie Flan being one of them. The transfer portal is still legitimately interesting because of some of these withdrawals.
It says returning for his senior year at Santa Clara.
For Adama Ball.
Yeah.
And then Brazil is transferring. And this article, the top landing spot for him is Arkansas. Well, he played at Arkansas. The top landing spot for him to transfer to is North Carolina. North Carolina, Texas, Illinois. Illinois is an interesting one. You had Neek Clifford withdrew, which surprised me because he was starting to get some sneaky, like, late first round buzz. And the thing that surprises me about some of these guys withdrawing, I can't talk. I really can't talk. What surprises me about some of these guys withdrawing is next year's draft is much, much better. And with all these names withdrawing, next year's draft is loaded in the second round, too. My goodness. Yep. So there's guys that would have gotten drafted this year that went back to college and won't get drafted next year.
Yep.
And it's going to be really interesting to follow along with some of that. Garway Dual, who was a top recruit that went to Providence and just fell off draft radars at the start of the season because he didn't do anything. He went back. One of my second-round sleepers that I had a late first-round grade on, that I was really surprised Eric withdrew. Because he was going to be 24 when he got drafted. Tyon Grant Foster withdrew. I am so bummed about that. And I don't understand that at all. I guess he wasn't getting good feedback, but dude, with the names that withdrew, he would have certainly gotten drafted. I think he would have gotten drafted early second. I think he would have gotten drafted before 45 because he's a guy that could have come in and maybe played some minutes just as a scorer at the small forward position. He measured well. Coming off a big season. There's no way his stock gets better going back. Because even if he plays even better, the age thing is going to work against him even more in a loaded draft. So I don't understand him going back at all.
No. I'm assuming he's transferring somewhere else.
People are talking about him going back to GCU. So that's baffling. Because if he enters the draft, well, he entered the draft next year because I think this is the last season. But he would be a rookie that turns 26 in their rookie year. So, yeah. It's wild.
Yeah, it's weird. It says, as far as anyone knows, he didn't enter the transfer portal.
Yeah, interesting. Coleman Hawkins, who looked good in combine scrimmages, would have certainly gotten drafted in the second round. He was an intriguing second round guy. He returned to college. He's transferring. Who knows where he goes? but he's not staying in Illinois. I don't know why he went back, man. Didn't make any sense to me. That's another intriguing second-round player that I wouldn't have minded the Blazers drafting at 40. Gone. Sion James. Sorry. Go ahead.
The Coleman Hawkins thing is really disappointing. I really feel just watching him at the combine scrimmage and just for years now being puzzled as to why he isn't better in college. I just really felt like he needed to make that jump to the NBA to showcase his full skill set. I don't think he can do that in college. And I just don't know what he has to prove. Like, I don't think he can do anything to improve his draft stock. So just being a year older in a better draft, like you mentioned, that makes no sense to me.
He's maybe the second most baffling returnee. There's one that's even more baffling.
Yeah.
I think you already know.
So people are saying NIL. Sure, of course, NIL. But you're talking about 1 year versus starting the clock on getting a bigger contract in the NBA if you're successful. So maybe some of these people just don't have confidence that they're going to stick around in the NBA for very long.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I had lag a minute ago, but you guys could still hear me. I set up a whole new modem, whole new cord system, whole new router. Okay?
It wasn't lagging. It was just like the video was choppy for a second.
Yeah, that's weird.
But still we're able to hear.
Yeah. You can blame Comcast. Now we can actually comfortably blame Comcast. It's not my setup because I switched everything that I could.
Real quick, did you mention Eric Dixon at Villanova?
No.
I know he's not really a draft prospect, but how the heck does that guy have eligibility?
How old is he?
Like, I don't know. It feels like he's been at Villanova since like Josh Hart and those guys played there, you know?
Oh, man. The Knicks wouldn't draft him, so we went back. That's funny. Man. Sion James was a late second-round guy that was intriguing me a little bit, Eric. He went back to Tulane, or I guess he's going to transfer somewhere probably. Kalkbrenner went back. I didn't even see Kalkbrenner.
Oh, that was a while. That was weeks ago.
Was it? Yeah. I mean, I don't pay much attention to Ryan Kalkbrenner. But he went back. Arthur Kaluma went back to school. Alex Caravan went back to UConn. He's going to try and repeat again. Caleb Love went back to Arizona. Just got a lot of name recognition next year in college basketball. Baba Miller went back to school. He's transferring from Florida State to Florida Atlantic.
Yeah.
It's kind of strange. Ole Miss is going to be good next year. Matthew Morrell went back. Onyenso, who the Blazers worked out, he went back to school. I don't know where he's going to be playing. Wooga Poplar went back to school. He just had a visit or is going to have a visit with Oregon. He might be an Oregon Duck next year, which means everybody's going to want to draft him in the second round in the 2025 draft. Another guy the Blazers worked out, didn't really mean anything. Will Richard went back to school. Jeremy Roach went back to school. Jackson Robinson went back to school. He's going to Kentucky. Kentucky with a new coach. They're going to be interesting. And then this is the most baffling name, Eric. The most baffling name that returned to school. Hunter Salas. Do you agree with that being the most baffling decision?
Yeah, I think it's tied between him and Coleman Hawkins, but yeah, I mean, maybe he just really likes school. Maybe he wasn't getting good feedback or wasn't doing good in workouts or something and wanted to show for a second season that he could consistently hit a three-point shot since he hadn't up until this last season. So maybe that's the case, but yeah, some other people are saying that some of these guys wanted a team to promise them a non-two-way contract, that they wanted an actual contract, and a lot of people, or I guess teams, weren't willing to give that to them. But that also doesn't mean they wouldn't have gotten
two-way contracts next year then.
Yeah, exactly.
It's wild. It's wild.
Yeah.
Don't understand.
Yeah, we haven't gotten to one that I think is up there as well.
Yeah, that might be the one I'm most disappointed in. Salas, he shot like 43% from three. I don't. It's gonna be hard for him to. It's gonna be hard for him to actually play as good as he played last year. He like might have overachieved a little bit because he was a really bad shooter until last year. I'm sure he put the work in to become a legitimate shooter, but he shot the cover off the ball all year. And defensively, really impressive. Like, there are contenders there early second that could have saw him like, maybe this guy can play a little bit of defense, knock down a three, like, decent athlete, and put him on a main roster contract. Like, I think he could have snuck into the first round. Of course, these guys are getting feedback and this and that, but he goes back. Peyton Sandfort went back. Mark Sears went back. I actually don't hate that decision as much as some of the others because Alabama's going to be loading next year, and I mean, I don't know.
He's another older guy.
Yeah, and really short. Like, it's going to be tough. I mean, some of these guys are going to have to be like top 5 player in college to really noticeably improve their stock next year, which is going to be tough because you got a lot of talent coming in. Jaron Stevenson was an intriguing guy. He went back to Alabama. Alabama's loaded, like I said. JT Toppin started to get some buzz. He went back. And then the biggest disappointment for me, Jameer Watkins went back. And he might transfer, I think, if I recall correctly. But you guys know I had a first-round grade on him. He was one of my favorite second-round sleepers, and he's going back to school. Eric, I got to find some new second-round sleepers, I guess. Because every year I have second-round sleepers, and almost every year I hit on a second-round sleeper. And this year I don't have any more.
Yeah, so I don't know if this is the case for you or not, but I always have, my guys who are my second-round sleepers, but I have them in my 20s, right?
Yeah.
Or like, and then I have the guys that are first rounds on pretty much everyone else's draft boards, but I don't like them, so they're in my like early second round, like Filipowski type players. Yeah. And then
for me, that's Furphy. He stayed. He's going he's staying in the draft. He's going to be in the draft. Going to be a first round pick. I had him in the second.
But so I get down to like 50, and I just like, I hate all these guys. Like I really only felt like now that you remove like 10 guys from the list too.
Yeah.
I feel like even if I have a top 60, that like 10 of these guys I wouldn't want to draft in the second round, even though they're going to be in my top 60. So it's kind of.
But one of those guys is going to be the all-star of this draft. Watch.
Yeah, right. Probably. Like Reese Beekman or something like that,
Yeah. I mean, you're going to have to start liking Baylor Shireman.
I know. I was just looking at his name right before we came on the air, and I'm like, I'm going to have him in like the mid-second round now, just by default, because there's no one else.
He's 6'7" and can shoot off the move and can dribble and can pass. That's the borderline first-round prospect now.
All right.
I saw a thread on him. I don't know. I'm starting to like him, Eric. You told me not to, but I don't understand why not. I feel like he's going to be a role player.
I feel like he's a shorter version of Filipowski.
Well, no, he can actually shoot, though.
I mean, give Filipowski a couple more years and he'd be able to shoot too.
I mean, okay, Shireman sophomore year. Let's although he was playing at like South Dakota State or something. Sophomore year, he shot 44% from three.
Nice.
And then 47% his junior year at South Dakota State. So, I don't know. I just like that he's big enough to play the three and can shoot and can pass and can handle a little bit and has good feel. And isn't going to make many mistakes. Like, I don't know. It's not flashy at all, but it's probably a bench player. And that's the type of... Basically, I'm going to talk myself into guys now in the second round because there's so little left, I feel like.
Elizabeth Allen says you have to get a Shireman jersey when the Blazers pick him at 14. Please no. And
Eric would melt down.
yeah.
Would you hate that? Which would you hate more, him or Filipowski at 14?
Either way, it's a wasted pick. I would hate Shireman more just because I think we could maybe get him.
Has there ever been a player that you've like hated as much as those guys that has actually panned out? Or are you like me and you only remember your hits? Because I only remember.
I mean,
hits.
like we both had LaMelo Ball out of our top 10. I think I don't remember where your final one was.
8, 9. I just didn't think he would be a shooter because he just sucked from 3 in the NBL before he got to the league.
Yeah. With you, it's Desmond Bain, I think.
Yeah. That was just stupid, though. Oh, man. I'm never making that mistake again.
Yeah, thank you, Taylor. Why do you always have to have me pick between some crappy player and some even crappier player?
Because you hate the players that the Blazers are going to end up choosing between.
They're not going to choose between Baylor, Shireman.
You didn't hate Chris Murray, though. I don't understand that. I will say, the guys that I've hated that the Blazers have drafted, I've been right on.
Okay. I hated the pick for the Blazers. I was right there with you. I was disappointed. I think I immediately said, why would we draft a 23-year-old in a rebuild or whatever, or after, if we're not trading Scoot. I don't know. It just didn't
I hated it if we were trying to win.
No, I know.
No matter what.
But, and like, why would we not just trade that pick for our picks back so we can make a trade for Dame? It just didn't make any sense.
Yeah.
But I didn't think Chris was like a terrible prospect. But yeah.
I feel like he's like a worse version of Baylor Shireman. little taller.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just like slow, not super athletic, like shooter. I don't know. Like if you're gonna be slow, you gotta at least be able to pass and like dribble better than Chris can and shoot better than Chris can. He's gonna tear it up in his second year. Watch. He's gonna prove me wrong.
Oh, and so I just thought of this right now. Guy I was super wrong on is Johnny Davis. He sucks.
Oh yeah, I mean I was there with you. He was consensus like top 7-8 guy though. So I'm not too hard on like myself.
I mean, 10? So
yeah,
he's maybe not consensus, but
well, we thought he slipped a little bit, and a lot of people, if I recall correctly, thought he slipped a little bit. So, anyway, I'm excited to start talking about Anton Watson as a draftable prospect, and Bronny James as a draftable prospect.
Eric had him top 2? Are you talking about Johnny Davis? I think I had him 5th on my draft board.
I had him 5th too, but Eric convinced me to like him.
I did not have him top 2.
Oh man, I had some question marks, and I was like, you know what, Eric's probably right. He's probably gonna be good. I see the vision. And then, yeah,
he sucks.
Yeah, dude. Well, they tried to change his shot, and it ruined him. So, I don't know. I'm going to start watching film on, like, Ariel Hook Porty again, because he's been a name the past couple years.
The 3rd straight year.
Yeah, for the 3rd straight year. Like, maybe Izon Almansa can become a 3-point sniper.
He's just as good as Jeremy Sohan. You can get him in the 2nd round.
Yeah. There you go. Isaiah Crawford stayed, right?
Think so.
Yeah. Cedric Coward went back to school. He's going to Washington State. What a name. So, I don't know. I'll find a couple guys. Jordan Ivy Curry. Could you imagine he gets drafted? And we'll just be laughing our ass off, and half the people in our draft stream will not understand. Anyway, those are the guys that withdrew. I talked about doing big boards today, but like, it's too soon after the withdrawal. My big board is having withdrawals. And
I know I had to remove a bunch of people. I'm like, what the heck?
So like, My goal is to have a top 60 big board where it's like not just me throwing random names at the end of it by like June 10th. So, yeah, rough. But Blazers have been working out players. They worked out players today. They worked out players a couple days ago. I think it was the 28th. So let me just pull this up. The third workout session today, the Blazers hosted Harrison Ingram, who played at Stanford, transferred to North Carolina. He's just like a solid guy. Stephen Vaughn loves him. Averaged 11 and 8 last year. Shot 38% from 3. A little undersized at the 3, though. I thought he would measure better. I'm not really intrigued in him. I feel like he's the typical, like, upperclassman that does a lot of things okay, but nothing good. And I don't like taking upperclassmen that do a lot of things okay, but nothing good. Do you agree?
Yeah. Well, I just think he's like one of those glue guys that does a lot of different things, but I don't know if he does anything well enough to really make a huge impact. But
I feel like we already got too many of those guys.
Yeah. I think he's one of those guys that by default is going to be like 45 on my board because I just don't know who else to put up there, you know?
Yeah.
So like just, I mean, I don't think it's like a wasted pick or anything. I think he can come in and just be like a filler guy on a maybe end of a rotation guy or something. I don't think it's going to be like a starting level player at any point.
The next guy is a guy that he might be my new Jameer Watkins. I don't know. Kashad Johnson.
All right.
I need to watch some film on him. Athletic, shot 38% from 3, plays defense. I could say multiple good things about him, so maybe he's a first-round prospect. 6'6" without shoes, 8'7" standing reach, big enough to play the 3. They have him listed as a 4, a little undersized for that. PJ Hall's standing reach is 8'7.5". Oh God! Even after this, I can't have him top 60, Eric. I don't. PJ Hall is like poor man's Filipowski.
After I deleted a bunch of people that went back, it's like I was looking down at the end and I saw him like into my. He was at 60, and I was like, "No, how did this happen?" Like I didn't put him on my top 60. I guess there's only 58 picks this year, so he's still outside the draft, thankfully.
Yeah. Melvin Ajinça, who I need to watch tape on him. Because he's been a second-round guy for months, and I just have not watched tape on him. He's, like, very raw, but some people think he has a little bit of upside, so he's a wing, 6'7" wing. Cam Christie. Oh, my goodness. Cam Christie stayed in the draft. Why did Cam Christie... I didn't like Max Christie as a player, and Cam Christie just reminds me of Max Christie. And what has Max Christie done, Eric?
He's been okay defensively.
Cool. Yeah, I don't get it with Cam Christie. He just reminds me of Max, and I didn't like Max. So, but he worked out. And then undrafted free agents. Thierry Darlin, I might have messed up his name, but he was a G League Ignite guy, didn't play much. I don't even remember him playing at the G League Ignite game that I went to. But he worked out. 6'8" guard. That sounds intriguing. That shot 41% from the field. We love G League Ignite guys that shoot like 41, 42% from the field, right?
Yeah. 34th pick written all over it.
And then Malik Hall as well. And then at the previous workout, there were some better names. Tyler Smith from the G League Ignite. He's probably going to be a first-round pick now. He probably goes before 34, but I don't want to draft him at 14, so he's kind of in a weird range. Khalil Ware, Oregon fans, you probably know him. He's a guy that the Blazers could legitimately take at 14. High upside big with motor questions, but he's a legitimate 7-footer. He has more size than Sarr. 9'4.5" standing reach for Ware, which is 2.5 inches taller than Sarr. 6'11" and 3/4 without shoes, so 7 feet basically, just as tall as Sar. 7'4.5" standing reach, and has shooting potential. Like, he's a potential pick, but I don't know if I want another center with motor questions. But he's an upside swing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't think you can put those questions to bed, but I did think his motor was much better this year in Indiana than it was last year at Oregon.
Yeah.
I think a little bit of that was it was kind of his role at Oregon was kind of sporadic, and his playing time or like his spot, like what he's supposed to do in the offense and stuff, wasn't consistent. And so, but there would be some games where it just seemed like he wasn't playing much or didn't play like a key part in any game. And then you watch a few and you're like, wow, this guy has some talent. Why isn't he playing more? But I thought this year he did have a lot more consistency to his game.
Yeah. I feel like we've had too many guys where the motor, you don't know what you're going to get. Like, if guys are going to play hard or coast a little bit. So I'd hope that if we draft him, he comes in and plays hard consistently, because if he does, he could be a really, really good center in the league. Mm-hmm. It just comes down to how bad he wants it. So, like, if you want to take that gamble at 14 because he has size and because he has talent, I can definitely get behind that. Man, we've just had so many guys in the past, like... I also wouldn't mind just drafting somebody that you know is going to play his ass off.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, those are a lot of guards.
Medina asks, does Ware have any similarities to Lively? The only similarity in my mind is just kind of size and movement-wise, but I think Lively is a much smarter and a little quicker laterally. Yeah. And
plays consistently hard.
Defensive IQ and along with a little bit quicker movement is better in my opinion for a center, but Ware is definitely better potentially offensive player, like skill set wise, but I don't know, maybe Lively can still show some of that, but he hasn't really done much outside of the paint in the NBA. So maybe a little higher offensive potential for Ware. And even though he blocked a couple shots a game, I don't see him having the same type of defensive impact other than just being a decent rim protector in the NBA.
Yeah. Tyler Smith, like I said, I don't know. He would be close to Filipowski if we drafted him at 14. Like, not as bad as Filipowski. He's just another one of those guys, Eric, that what is he good at?
Floor spacer, and yeah, that's about it.
What did he shoot last year, though?
It was like 37%.
Yeah, this article said 33% from three, so it has me second guessing. But, like, the G League sections off their seasons. It's weird. Tankathon has him at 36%. 73% free throw shooter. So he's probably going to be an okay three-point shooter at a power forward position. I don't think he's big enough to play center. I don't think he's skilled enough to play small forward. He's basically just a stretch four that doesn't do anything else. Like, doesn't impress me anywhere else.
If he was 6'11", like he was listed at, I would have maybe thought he could creep into the end of the lottery there, but I don't know. What did he end up measuring at? Like 6'8" or 6'9" or something without shoes? And
he measured 6'9" without shoes, 8'9" standing reach, 7'1" wingspan.
I mean, that's good size for a 4, but
his standing reach is equal to Keyshawn George's. You know, like give me Keyshawn George over Tyler Smith. Because at least he shows flashes in other areas.
Man, I've heard nothing about Keyshawn George in this draft process. Weird.
It's kind of and then he's going to go like 12, and people are going to be like, "Whoa!" And it's going to be like, "Of course, the Thunder would take him."
Well, I think that's what's going on. Is like teams are trying to hide their love for him. If they're just not saying anything about him.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. I don't want Tyler Smith. Isaiah Crawford, intriguing second round guy, out of Louisiana Tech, 6'6". Didn't get invited to the combine, but supposedly has, like, if I recall correctly, a 7-foot wingspan or something like that. So who knows how big he is. Teams at workouts measure guys a lot of times.
He was at one of the ones before the combine, I think. Either the
Portsmouth. That
one or the G League one.
Yeah.
I think he was there.
The Blazers worked out Caravan. He went back to school. They worked out Caleb Love. He went back to school. So basically, these guys came, worked out in Portland, and was like, nope, I don't want to go to the NBA. I'm going to go back to college. And then Quentin Post out of Boston College. I have never seen him play.
Yeah.
So those are the workouts. Eric, you know what's weird? Maybe it's not weird, but they haven't worked out a single guy for their 7th pick, huh?
Well, less aware is. Okay.
Bro, dude, okay. I said I would be on board with him at 14. I would not be on board with him at 7.
Well, we know
if you
Castle's
want a center. You can get Missy at 14. I'm cool with that too.
We know Castle is not going to work out for us, and so, yeah. I mean, I'm guessing a lot of those guys are working out for the teams ahead of us first, but I expect that to happen pretty soon.
Yeah. I look forward to talking about it once it happens. Can we get Buzelis and Risache their one-on-one game in Portland? That would be cool.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. Anyway, that's the workouts.
Tyler says, Eric, are you taking Salon at 7 if he's there? Personally, yes, but it also, I don't know. If depending on how the draft board goes, like if Buzelis is still on the board, I'm not. I don't know if I'm taking him over Buzelis or someone like that.
I have Buzelis higher, but I'm actually okay with taking Salon over Buzelis. Or Buzelis over Salon. You can talk me into either.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, yeah. I wouldn't have a huge problem either way.
Yeah, I just figured might be more surprising for me to say it, considering I've been a little.
Nice.
I haven't, put Salon as high, but
ultimately,
he's played well at the end of the season. Like it's what I want him to see. So that's why stock changes with some of these. Yeah. I've moved Risache up a little bit more too.
Yeah.
Like, these guys start to show me something this time of year. Like, I'm going to move them up my board. So it's always interesting to see the international guys.
Well, this is a perfect segue into Blazer trade ideas, where perhaps the first one would allow us to get both of those guys.
Yes, chat. I'm going to set up this poll. 56% of people say the Mavericks are going to beat the Celtics, by the way, Eric.
Nice.
Really interesting result there. I like it. I'm going to set up this poll. Would you do this trade for Portland? Yes or no? I'm going to post the poll after I read off the trade. So, Eric sent me some trades via Bleacher Report. Shout out to Bleacher Report. I'll have a couple streams next month with them. In this first trade, as Eric teased, go ahead.
Let me just say, so they did like a trade for every team. Yeah. So there's one for our team of what we should do. And then our name, the Blazers, showed up in 2 other teams' trades. So This one was actually for the Rockets. Yeah, which doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but I mean,
I'm gonna let chat vote before I even say anything to influence them.
Okay, sorry.
Okay,
my bad.
No, you're fine. A lot of things the Rockets do don't make sense. Anyway, trade number 1. The Blazers trade Jeremy Grant and the 14th pick and get back Dillon Brooks, Tari Eason, and the 3rd pick. So they move up from 14 to 3. They have the 3rd and 7th picks and swap Jeremy Grant for Dillon Brooks and Tari Eason. Chat, would you do this trade for Portland? Get your votes in. Chase says easily. Opal says yes. Chat so far, 78% of people, 79% of people say yes. Eric, I say yes.
I'm definitely shopping, like hoping a third team would take Brooks in that scenario.
Please.
Please. So hopefully you guys by now understand how we will approach any sort of trade as to whether we'd like it or not. And so my initial thoughts were, okay, Blazers save money and move up 11 spots, get 1 year less on a slightly better contract in Brooks versus Grant, and add a nice young piece in Tari Eason and get the third pick.
Yeah.
Garvin says say the trade again. So Blazers send out Grant and 14 and get back Tari Eason, the third pick, and Dylan Brooks. So once again, it's the names of the players, in my opinion, unless they're good young players or draft picks, are irrelevant. So like Dylan Brooks, we're not wanting Dylan Brooks because that's a good fit on Portland's roster. It's what's his contract and how does it improve our cap situation with the big contract that's involved, and then how do we get to the other stuff? Does it get us under the tax and all that kind of stuff? So my initial thoughts were third pick and Tari Eason. Have to take down back Dylan Brooks is fine if you get those two. Good trade, right?
Yeah.
But then I thought about it a little bit. We actually add salary in this trade.
Do we? Oh,
yeah.
Picks, huh?
Yeah, because the third pick makes a little over $10 million, and so we add almost $1.9 million in this deal. So I was like, wait, this doesn't even help our tax situation. That made me like it slightly less, but you still could do another trade later on to dump someone. But I don't know. Having conversations the next couple weeks about having 2 top 7 picks in this draft, and what we could do with those 2 picks versus 7 and 14, that just sounds so much more fun, right?
Yeah, no, 100%. Because here's the thing: you draft your best player available at 3, and then you take Salon at 7. You get your safer, maybe still an upside pick at 3, Buzelis or whatever, and then you take Salon at 7, and you swing for the fences. Or if you think Salon might not fall to 7, you could talk me into taking Salon at 3, and then just taking one of one of Castle, Buzelis, Holland, whoever's there at 7.
Mm-hmm.
And you could justify taking Salon at 3, even though that might be a reach with the logic that maybe the guy you take at 3 might be there at 7, and is there really that much difference between some of these guys? Yeah, Klingon, you're gonna have somebody good at 7. So I love that trade just to take a swing on Salon and get another one of the top tier prospects.
Do you think Atlanta would entertain 3 and 7 for 1?
Possibly if they're not sold on Sar or Risachet at 1. Because if they're not sold on either, then maybe there's another guy that they like. Like, maybe they like Castle. I don't know. It gets you in the conversation. Would I do it for 1? Probably. I like Sar enough that you could talk me into doing it. Like, basically, if you're trading Jeremy Grant 7-14 for 1 to get Sar, Tariq, and Dylan Brooks, you can talk me into that for sure.
Yeah.
And then you might actually save money there because you're also trading away the 7th pick and getting 1 instead of 3. But that would make for a fun offseason, man. That would be a fun trade. And you got some other power forwards. on the roster that you're going to have to clear minutes for. You're probably going to draft one anyway, so it makes perfect sense. Perfect sense to trade Jeremy Grant and get back rebuilding assets, get back young assets. And, I mean...
The third pick, you can't get better assets than that,
exactly.
Right?
And it's not just Jeremy Grant, too. Like, there's also apparently a legitimate chance that another power forward on this roster is going to be gone next year. Okay? They have multiple power forwards on this roster. You can guess at who. But they still have guys left over. They took Chris Murray in the first round last year, for crying out loud. So Kamara could play some four, especially if the Blazers have a logjam at the shooting guard, small forward positions. Then they probably need to clear up some minutes for Kamara at the four. They also played Robert Williams at the four next to Ayton last year, for crying out loud. So
we should also mention that we don't think Houston would do this trade, right?
No. I mean, maybe they shelled out a ton of money for Van Vliet and Dylan Brooks, so they would probably love Jeremy Grant.
They might like Grant, but I don't know if they're giving up the third. Would you do this trade if it was the 7th instead of the 14th?
Probably not. If it's the 7th, I'm trying to trade Malcolm Brogdon instead of Jeremy Grant. I've seen trade ideas that's like Malcolm Brogdon in 7 for 3 and filler salary, and that's interesting to me.
Yeah. So then you could probably cut enough salary to maybe make it work.
Yeah, I mean, you could take back probably like $6-7 million less. Like, you probably just take back Jayshawn Tate and Jock Landale. And I'm pretty sure that gets there. That's like 14.5, 15. So.
All right, so 80% to 20% said they would do this trade. But I'd be curious, the 20% who said no, what are your reasonings? You just like Jeremy Grant, or do you not think getting the third pick is enough to trade Grant?
Jeremy Grant's the forward we always needed next to Dame. Why would we trade him? That's my answer. Okay, I'll type the next poll. Curious to hear your thoughts. While you give your thoughts, for any of you that said no, we can revisit any comments, but I'll read off the next trade that Eric sent me. In this one, the Blazers get... Here we go. In this trade, the Blazers get Josh Giddey and the 12th overall pick. If you don't know the trade, guess who the Blazers are sending out for that? Not only do I not want Josh Giddey, but, I mean, if you have 7 and 14, like, why are you trading for 12? Why are you valuing 12? But yes, chat, Anthony Simons for Josh Giddey in the 12th pick. Would you do this trade for Portland? I don't even know if the Anthony haters would do this trade, Eric.
Yeah, I saw a couple like, oh, this is really fair value for him, but we don't want.
It's effing stupid, horrible value for him. What are we talking about?
I know. It sucks.
Not only would this fan base not go for bringing in Josh Giddey after, the drama with him, but also he's a terrible fit, and you're doing it for the 12th pick? When you have 7 and 14, it's stupid. Horrible. Awful. No good.
Oh no, my trade machine's all reset. So let me just reload this real quick. 12th pick is just under $5 million, and then Giddey next year makes $8.3 million. Simons is scheduled to make 25.8, so we're saving $17.5 million.
So you're cap dumping Simons.
$12.5 million we'd save after the draft pick. So yeah, we're cap dumping Simons basically.
You didn't want to trade Malcolm Brogdon for a first-round pick in this year's draft, but then you're going to trade Anthony Simons for a first-round pick in this year's draft and get back Josh Giddey. Phenomenal stuff. Phenomenal stuff. To the two of you bozos that voted yes, why?
They're trolling.
Somebody said no to the last trade because they can't stand Dylan Brooks, and I can understand that.
Yeah, I can too. But once again, it's like I always bring this up, but like when we're talking trades with other teams last year for Dame and Miami, every time Miami came up, like, why would we want Kyle Lowry? That's stupid. We don't want Kyle Lowry. It's like he's an expiring contract that's 30 million. They have to include it to match salary pretty much. So like,
yeah. We probably could have played him less than Brogdon for him to be that vet mentor. So yeah. Dylan Brooks might be good for our locker room too, low key. Plays hard and is a little bit of an asshole. We kind of need more assholes.
I would like it better if he was on an expiring.
True. I don't like his contract at all. Okay.
But that's why I said, like, try to get a third team. But this trade, dude, if we salary dump, if our solution to get under the tax is to freaking salary dump Anthony Simons in a trade like this, I don't know.
Bro,
I cannot handle that, man.
You know what? The people that defend Joe Cronin, I would lose my mind because they would say, what do you want him to do? There's nothing he can do. He needs to duck the tax. And he didn't have leverage because they were $6 million into the tax. There's nothing he could do. He needed to clear minutes for Scoot and Sharp, and this is his way of doing it while getting somebody that can play small forward and help take the pressure off them playmaking-wise. That would be the narrative.
Cronin's probably biggest proponent is a huge Anthony Simons guy.
He would
just
still
like
excuse
I am.
him, bro. He would still excuse him.
And I would just love to see him
that would be funny.
Try to spin. I really that's the only thing I would want to see out of this trade is I want to see how that guy spins this because it would have to be something like this organization is too dedicated to Scoot for him to shine here anymore, and the fan base is turned on him, so he needs to go to a place where he's appreciated. Yeah. And they'll probably spin it like that, and then it also helps Cronin gets out of the tax and gets some young assets, and
you know, I speak that language so well. Oh man, I already hear it. Yeah. Oh man. Anyway, moving on. Trade number 3, final trade, and then we'll wrap up the stream. This trade involves the Orlando Magic. The Blazers trade Malcolm Brogdon and get back Jet Howard, Joe Ingles, and the 18th pick. Chat, would you do this trade? How much do the Blazers save in that trade, by the way, Eric?
Not enough.
Because the 18th pick is salary, but I would then try and package like 18 with 14 to trade up or something. You could maneuver.
You could also maybe... I think they could maybe do it without guaranteeing Ingles' contract using cap space, or maybe Ingles doesn't even have to be involved in that trade. Or they could do one of those things where they only guarantee like $8 million of his $11 million or something, and
I don't think they need to trade him. I think the Blazers could just outright save like 17 mil and get back Jet Howard and get back the 18th pick.
Mm-hmm. I mean, maybe if we don't take back Ingles, they wouldn't do it.
I mean, they can just. He's a team option. He's a non-guaranteed.
Yeah.
So they could just let him walk. So it doesn't even matter for them. I do this trade in a heartbeat. I do this trade as fast as I do the Jeremy Grant trade.
With it's only $6 million difference between Jet Howard and Ingles and Brogdon, so then you minus the draft pick, so it's only a few million, so it's not enough to get us out of the tax completely. But yeah, I love this trade, man. Get a young shooter potentially and the 18th pick. You can maybe take a flyer on a Bakome Dadiet or Nikola Jerusik or something. And then get the bird rights to Joe Ingles again, and no, just kidding. But no,
Joey.
yeah.
Oh man.
This is the type of trade we need to do. You get a first round pick, which would be a home run by itself for Brogdon, I think, at this point.
Yep.
You clear salary if you do it right, and you add another young shooter at the same time. I would definitely do this trade, and I hope it's on the board. This is something I would be stoked about if we did it.
Orlando's the team that makes most sense for Ant
Mm-hmm.
in terms of a team that give up like legitimate value and being able to save money. They make sense for Brogdon for money reasons, and they just need a scoring guard. I think they're the most likely trade partner for a Blazers guard out of any team. And I hope it's Brogdon there. I hope it's Brogdon there. It might be Ant there, but it might be a trade that's good enough where I don't hate it. If we're trading Ant, though, I want back Anthony Black, Eric. On top of something else, on top of other stuff. That's assuming we don't draft Castle, because I think Castle and Anthony Black together are a little overkill. But I know you don't like Anthony Black that much, but he would be a really good role player for years to come and fill a need.
See that? Then we're starting to get close to the Giddey trade, in my opinion.
What do you mean?
Like if we traded Ant for Giddey and a first or something, or not Giddey, Black and a first or something.
Black is much better than Giddey as a prospect, though.
I wouldn't say much better, but
I would.
I'm just saying,
defense.
okay, I'm just saying that trade is similar, like value-wise, in my opinion. I'm not saying
You're
he's
saying
not
18 and Anthony Black versus Josh Giddey in 12. I would do 18 and Anthony Black all day.
Yeah, I probably would do that if I had to choose one or the other, but that's like choosing Filipowski or Shireman at 14, in my opinion. They're both bad.
I mean, I just think you've always underrated Anthony Black a little bit. Like, I think he's going to be a, like, near lockdown defender, perimeter guy, and just connective piece. I don't know. I've always liked that archetype a little bit more, and he shot decently, albeit on low volume last year. I have hope for his shot.
Yeah.
3-and-D guy with athleticism and, like, playmaking, not a bad thing to bet on.
Is it just because he's young or what? But why did he go from being heavily into the rotation to not in the rotation at all?
Because he's a rookie on a playoff team.
Yeah, but I mean, he was playing earlier in the season.
Yeah, but he's a rookie on a playoff team. Like, even when he was playing earlier, he still only played 17 minutes a game. Like, we've seen the Blazers use, like, token young players, like token starters, that then end up falling out of the lineup. It's not like he was out here playing, like, 33 minutes a game, helping them win a bunch of games, and then they benched him. So I think it's a little unfair. Like, it's a fair question. I just think it's unfair to, like, hold that against him.
I'm not holding it against him. I'm just saying, like, I'd be curious to know why that was the case.
Yeah, I just think they were a good defensive team that struggled offensively. So also, I don't think he really fit what they needed. Because they had Jonathan Isaac. They got Franz Wagner's a decent defender. You got Jalen Suggs, right? It's kind of like the opposite problem we have, where Anthony Black wasn't going to help them out offensively. It was too early for that. And defensively, they didn't really need him. And they needed guys that were playing his position to, like, hit shots and space the floor and do more offensively, which is why ultimately they would trade for Malcolm Brogdon or Anthony Simons. So I think it's as much that. I think it's fit, rookie, like... And us, we kind of need the opposite of what they need, which is why I think he makes sense in a trade. So I would just like to take a flyer on him because I think he can be a solid three-point shooter that is just a really good connective piece, plays really hard, is one of those dogs that we talk about, like, that could contribute to this team ultimately becoming a good defensive team. 6'6" guy that has some point guard skills, can play some point, shooting guard, small forward, and defend. It's just intriguing to me. Now, if he really struggles with his shot, then yes, fit offensively is a major question mark. It's just one of those things where it's a flyer where, like Josh Giddey, he's not a good shooter.
Yeah, I will say that I think I remember seeing something that almost all of Anthony Black's 3-point shots were wide open.
I mean, if he's making wide open threes at 39%, then keep giving him the ball when the defenses leave him.
Just can't have that kind of spacing. I don't know.
I mean, no, you just kick it out to him. At some point, if a guy keeps shooting 39% from three, defenses will stop leaving him. He just didn't shoot like a super high volume.
Yeah.
He shot 1.4 a game in 17 minutes. I mean, that's not terrible for 17 minutes, I guess. It's a little better than I expected. A little better than I thought. But, yeah, like, he's somebody you take a flyer on and you hope that he can shoot. Where Josh Giddey, he's not going to be a good shooter. He's been in the league and established that. And he's not a good defensive player. So that's why I was like, guy like Anthony Black, sure. But you need more back for him if you're going to trade Ant. I just like that as a piece to take a flyer on top of the 18th pick, on top of, like, hopefully another asset is what I'd be looking for if they are intent on trading Anthony Simons.
Which, in my opinion, would be dumb because they're in talent acquisition wars.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe one day they'll be in defense acquisition mode, though.
Well, we need the front court players for that. I don't know.
Yeah, well, there's multiple problems still defensively. Like, we're celebrating the fact that they almost were top 20 in defense. It's just not good. It's just not good. But, like, Brogdon doesn't contribute defensively. Jeremy Grant is overrated defensively. You get assets for those guys. Can get back picks. Can get back future picks maybe. Whatever. Save some money. Take a flyer on a guy that is a better defender than both those guys and has some intriguing offensive traits. Like, that's ideal for this offseason, in my opinion. Like Anthony Black, I think you have to give up Ant for, but he's the 6th pick in the draft last year. I don't think he was bad as a rookie either. So, anyway, those are the trades. Excited to talk more about trades in the coming streams. Before we wrap up the stream, we've dropped merch. You should be able to buy it below the live stream. Although live streams, I think, mess with it. But we got a store that if you go to a video, you can buy Blazers Uprise merch. Great way to support the channel. We got some good sweatshirts, good t-shirts. We got hats for you as well. So if you want to get yourself some Blazers Uprise merch, here's what we've dropped. That is a model. A computer-generated model on the bottom right. I don't know them. But support the channel. Get yourself some Blazers Uprise merch. Below the video. If you guys have any really good questions, we'll answer them over the next couple of minutes. And if there's anything else you want to discuss, Eric, let me know.
No. Just once again, happy birthday.
Thank you.
Those that are joining late, it's Tori's birthday today. And Shane Sharps.
I like that you lump us together. Let's go. Sharp's old enough to drink now.
Yeah. Do you want to reveal your age, Tori?
No.
Okay.
Old enough to drink. I should say that. Thank you, Devin. Thoughts on AJ Johnson? Yeah, maybe that's my second round sleeper now, I guess, Eric. AJ Johnson is all I have left.
Yeah.
I mean, Trenton Flowers and Mogbo. Mogbo is a first-round prospect now. Because goodbye, Grant Foster. Goodbye, Salas. He was already in your first round?
Yeah.
Oh, is that a flexing? I have him at 28 now. You have him higher?
Yeah, I have him like 24, I think.
Okay, I now have him at 23.
All right.
He's above Jacoby Walter now. Oh, Jameer Watkins is gone. Oh, so I would have bumped him up to like 27 anyway. I don't know. I'm intrigued. I will put him at 24 with you because I don't want to put him ahead of Jacoby Walter or Keyshawn George. But I'm willing to put him ahead of Chomchi and Bub Carrington. Yeah, Chomsky didn't go anywhere, right? So, or does he have more time? Because I know there's like something for international players.
Yeah, I don't know when that date is, but
Clifford gone. Man, this is sad. Hawkins gone.
yeah, I deleted so many.
Miller gone. Toppin gone.
I
Sears
wish
gone.
Fanspo would delete them.
Brazil gone. Caravan gone. Jackson Robinson gone. I got PJ Hall at 52. This is not good.
I know. He got automatically moved up because he deleted them.
Oh, man. I don't even have 60 players left. Wait, did Grant why do I have Grant Nelson here? What? Judah Mintz, is he in the draft?
I think Mintz is in it still.
I need to look up Juan Nunez, I guess, and Anton Watson. Congratulations. I'm adding Kashad Johnson and my guy Anton Watson.
Oh, God.
Who should I add instead of Anton Watson, Eric?
I don't know.
Exactly. Probably G League Ignite guys is your answer. I don't want Janai Broom there. It's rough out here, man. Scorching Trails, we need some episodes. Okay.
Brawny.
Okay, let me just say this before we end the stream. If the Suns draft him at 22, that is the most shameless, like, super team chasing I've ever seen. You already got Beal, Book, and KD, and we're acting like you already won a championship, and then it's like, oh, not good enough. We got to draft Bronny at 22 to try and get LeBron. It's just
hey man, if
stuff.
They don't really have a lot of options. I kind of like them just going for it.
They would be the most hated team in the league.
Yeah. Man.
Devin Ford, that is 100% correct. He needed, like, if he wasn't LeBron James' son, he would have went back to USC, like, played a couple more years. And then, honestly, you know what his rookie season kind of reminded me of, Eric? Hunter Salas a little bit. But Hunter Salas is a little bigger.
Yeah.
But, like,
being 6'1", he's got to be a point guard now.
Yeah.
No, he's got the ball.
Like, you give...
He's got the mind. I think he's got the basketball IQ in the passing to be a point guard.
Like, you give him a couple more years in college, and, like, he's a late second-round pick type guy. If he wasn't LeBron's son. But since he's LeBron's son, we're talking about him at 17 and 22. Why did the draft get worse? I will catch the replay. Just guys dropping out. Guys dropping out. Anyway.
I will say people keep forgetting that he basically died and then came back and could not play basketball or
yeah, of course. Like,
do stuff for several months
and
then came back in the middle of the season. Like I
can't be too hard on him for the season he had, but also can't like bump him up saying like, oh, that's why he struggled. He's actually much better. Like he played.
I'm not saying anything about him being like better than he is or whatever. I'm just saying I hear a lot of people say like he came off the bench like at USC. Like how could he be good? And it's like, well, did you not remember that he like came back in the middle of the season and yeah.
Oh, I have to delete Jaren Stevenson. Anton Watson, you're back in the second round. Congrats. I don't know what else to do here. Why couldn't Filipowski go back, bro?
Yeah, he definitely should have gone back, but and man, it's crazy too. When was the last time someone who was like borderline undraftable, like refusing to work out for teams and stuff? Like this is insane, man.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
You know what Phoenix is doing though?
What's that?
They're gonna force the Lakers to take him at 17.
Yeah, true. Well, listen. Okay, here's the thing. If this might be wrong, but I'm just trying to think about it logically. If LeBron wanted to play with Bronny that badly, the Lakers would probably know.
Yeah.
Therefore, they would probably take Bronny at 17. Therefore, if Bronny falls to 22 and the Suns take him, I feel like it's a mistake because I feel like the Lakers wouldn't let that happen if LeBron was going to leave LA to go play in Phoenix if they drafted Bronny, especially with them being the only other workout.
Yeah.
That's just me trying to think logically.
Yeah, maybe. Or maybe, there's like, dude, he's not, like, we're not good enough to, like, we lost in the first round of the playoffs. We can't do, like, a gimmick as our pick. We need that pick to, like, make us better or in a trade or something.
Want LeBron? Like, what? We're going to be the 7th seed and lose in the first round?
Us?
Yeah, is that what you're talking about? Like the Blazers?
No, I was talking about from the Lakers perspective.
I thought you were talking about us taking him. I've heard Blazer fans want to take him. I saw somebody in chat say they wanted to take him. Like, no, we don't want you. Why would we?
I mean, might as well have a fun storyline next year. I'm not saying LeBron would.
You know what would be a fun storyline? Cooper Flag for a decade.
But would that help us if Bronny came here but LeBron didn't? Would that help us get Cooper Flag?
Well, Bronny wouldn't play if LeBron didn't.
That's what I'm saying. So we'd waste a pick, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So it just doesn't make sense.
Take him at 14 and supersede everyone.
Maybe the Lakers should just reset. Bron's got like 2 years. I mean, what are they going to reset to? They don't have a lot of their future picks. They don't have their 2025 first. They owe it to the Pelicans, unprotected.
Oh, by the way, I'd rather take Bronny at 14 than Filipowski or Shireman.
You're drunk. Ain't no way, bro. Ain't no way. Ain't no way you mean that. I'm calling
or
Cap.
Edie too.
No, I'm calling Cap on that. That's Cap.
No, I'd rather have Bronny.
That's Cap. No, you don't mean that. Chat.
I like Bronny, yeah. No, I hate this.
What are you talking about? You do not have him above those guys on your board. And he's a guard. Cap.
Yeah.
Cap.
He's a two-way.
Oh my god. I had
put a first round pick to be on a two-way.
I've had a long-time friend of mine come in the gym yesterday or Tuesday and say, man, the Blazers better take Edie at 14. I was like, He's like, do you see how he dominated college? And it's like, yeah, but that's college. Like, Luka Garza dominated college. So we had just this long debate, and he was like, wanted to draft Edie at 14.
Luka Garza had 4 points in 3 minutes tonight.
Out for him. Go ahead.
Luka Garza dominated tonight in garbage time.
Yeah.
His per 36 is good. No, I think you're talking about Anthony Black being a good defender. I know LeBron's small, but he's the type of guy who could be a Pat Bev type pest defensively at the guard position. I think that's something we do need.
Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, I agree, Danny. Can't draft Bronny. Anyway, appreciate you guys donating. Thank you for everyone that wished happy birthday. Thank you guys. We're gonna have to hide every Hogwatch channel here on our way out of here, but that's tradition. 5-minute timeout. Anyway, Eric, appreciate you guys hanging out with us. We'll be live again on Monday. Content over the weekend. I literally have a video that I've already finished editing. I just haven't had the time to post it before now. So stay tuned for that. Anything else?
No, thanks everyone for watching. Appreciate you all. Happy birthday again.
Thank you.
Have a good rest of your night.
Yep, you too, man. Buy merch on your way out of here. It's below the video. Support the channel. We greatly appreciate it. With that being said, we're out of here. We'll catch you next time. Until then, as always, peace out. Go Blazers!